Hey everyone, I am back, and now we are on 17th. Of course, see the new location. I am actually at home in Connecticut now. Had a great victory last night in the Sweet 16. Hopefully, we keep it up. Lead 8 tomorrow against Arizona. Go Huskies. Anyway, attached to this video as well is a very long write-up that I did regarding the Patriots. It's going to be in place of a longer video just because it's a little bit easier to do, where I go into everything really in depth and I look really deep at who they're going to take with their draft picks, the kind of players that they target. So if you're a Patriots fan or if you're just interested in learning more about the draft strategy the Patriots employ, feel free to read that. I think that it's pretty well written and interesting, and I think that there are some players there who I mentioned who could definitely be Patriots next year. I know last year a bunch of players who I mentioned ended up getting drafted. I mentioned guys like Taylor Price, Devin McCourty, Cade Weston, Aaron Hernandez, and a couple others who I cannot remember off the top of my head. So definitely check it out. I hope you like that. Now, get into the Patriots. And of course, the Patriots are one of those teams where the quality of player matters so much more than just about anything else. They definitely have some little ticks with looking at players from certain schools, certain areas, but at the end of the day, they're going to take the players who are most talented. They have such a diverse amount of patterns that we have seen from their various places of where they scout players that it doesn't really make a lot of sense to sort of focus in one area. So the Patriots look everywhere. Maybe skew a little bit more east just because it's a geographical bias. But of course, we've seen guys like Chung Gronkowski taking the first 2 rounds last year and the year before, and they were both out in the Pac-10. So it doesn't matter too much. Anyway, looking at the Patriots, I think they're in a bit of a tough position this year because I look at this talent pool and it's not extremely deep. And the Patriots are a team that thrives off of deep drafts. And we saw the last draft that was as weak as this one might be. And I'm not saying that it is going to be weak, but as weak as this one might be, was in 2007. It was the year before, well, the year that they ended up going 16-0, and that was a draft where they traded for Wes Welker and Randy Moss. They got Brandon Merriweather. They shot another pick into the next year, and then began Jerod Mayo with that pick. So the problem is that I'm not sure how willing teams are going to be to trade for future picks when really we're not sure what's going to be happening in future seasons at this point. And with an upcoming pay scale pending, and I think that's going to be one of the things that gets pushed through pretty quickly in the new CBA, I think that teams are going to be a little bit less willing to trade away future picks because a lot of the reason why you trade away future picks is because they would be high and have a lot of money tied to them. And this is with the Patriots as well. If there's a pay scale, it makes everything a lot more manageable. So I'm not sure what they're going to do. The weird thing is that even though the Patriots are never a team that has traded up before, if they were to ever decide to trade up, it would be this year. And I'm not sure they're going to do it. I don't think they will, gun to my head. But if there was ever a year for them to trade up and get an elite talent like A.J. Green or Marcel Darius, if they're slipping, it would be this year. Because they simply will have a better selection jumping up to receive a player rather than just waiting around and doing their usual strategy. Because honestly, I don't think there's a lot of talent for them this year. And I don't think that the draft is exceptionally deep. I think that there are some good players who are going to be around, but this could be like 2007 where the only players who've made the Pro Bowl after round 4 have been special teamers. We'll have to see about that. They are still, of course, in great position because they have so many picks in the first 2 rounds. 4 picks, 3 picks in the first 33, which is impressive to any extent. And looking at pick 17, if they don't trade, Justin Houston's a definite possibility just because Georgia guy, and he is a Fairbanks 3-4 linebacker through and through. And I actually watched a little bit of tape on him, and he didn't impress me that much in terms of his explosion. If I was a scout, I'd probably have him ranked as a second-round pick, somewhere in that range. But he can set the edge against the run, and that's what's most important for the Patriots. They need versatile outside linebackers. However, if they were to take a gamble, this would be, as I said, In a year where there isn't a great amount of talent, this could be the year to gamble on a player. And Allen Bailey of Miami, if they decide to trade down, this would probably be a little bit more likely. But they have worked him out a lot. They have watched tape with him. Belichick doesn't watch tape with every player. He watches tape with guys he was considering for a top pick. He has the frame, as I mentioned, I believe in the Redskins video, to be an elephant. A 3-4 outside linebacker who can also put his hand down in the 4-3. And honestly, I was not sold for a while on this idea. I heard it bandied about with Cameron Jordan. I still think Jordan will be a better fit in a 4-3 defense as a defensive end, maybe even in a one-gap 3-4. But when I watch Bailey's tape, he has really, really great athleticism. And when he runs, he sort of runs like Muhammad Wilkerson from Temple, except he has a little bit more functional strength than Wilkerson, which is scary because he's 40 pounds lighter than Wilkerson. So I think that if they wanted to take a risk, which they don't often do in the first round unless they have 2 picks, which they do this year, I could see Allen Bailey being sort of a Ben Watson type project pick. And then with their other pick, they take a safe guy who should be around, Danny Watkins out of Baylor, who would be a perfect fit for this system. And I can see a lot of different scenarios of them doing. I actually, in the thing that is linked to this video, I literally thought for a long time about who they were going to take with those first round picks, and then I kept changing it even after I posted it because I was literally playing tennis between Houston and Bailey. Houston is the safe pick. It's what the Patriots always do. Like, that is probably the safer pick. That is the trend pick. That is what people are going to expect them to do. But then I just can't get this feeling out of my head that in a year when they have 2 draft picks and they can get a safe player at some point in the draft, and they're in a weak class, you're just looking for a good player, and Watkins is a good player at an undervalued position. He's not going to go top 10, but he's probably a top 20 player in this draft class regardless of position. And his age is a little bit of a factor too, but this is a team that's taking guys like Sebastian Vollmer, I nearly said Telfair, Sebastian Vollmer, Nick Kazur, Jonathan Wilhite even, older guys who they just want because, I mean, Belichick's not going to be around forever. Brady's not going to be around forever. Why not get guys who could help you win immediately? So I think that a combination of Bailey or Houston and Watkins could be interesting. I also think a couple of quick hits because already don't have a lot of time left. If they take Bailey, I could see them taking a more explosive, smaller pass rushing specialist in the 4th round. Someone like Cheta Ozougwu out of Rice. Maybe someone like Ricky Elmore out of Arizona, who I really like, but I'm not sure is going to be around there. I could see them going defensive end as well. Cameron Hayward might be a tiny bit small for their defense. I still love him, though. I think that he's really undervalued. I could see them also going for a guy like Jarvis Jenkins out of Clemson, who, great penetrator. He's undervalued as well. I think he should be a first-round pick, but he won't be. I could see them going for a couple of other guys as well. Wide receiver, if they have some options, I see that being a mid-round range. Running back, they will only go for a guy if they're bigger. They don't like smaller backs other than Woodhead, who, by the way, basically makes the chance that they're going to take a small back 0. Quarterback, wanted to run by this. 3rd round is their risk round. They love taking risky players in the 3rd round. We saw that with Kevin O'Connell. If Colin Kaepernick was around the 3rd round, I think they'd take a long look at him. I don't think he'll end up there. If Andy Dalton somehow slips to round 3, they would definitely take a look at him. Ricky Stanzi, probably as well. I don't think they're going to slip there at this point, just because I think quarterbacks are going to be at a huge premium, but it definitely is something to keep in mind. And I mean, I guess I could run through a couple of other trends super quickly. Cornerbacks, 5'11", around 190, 195 pounds. They don't go over except in free agency or undrafted free agents. I would stay in that threshold. I could see a Brandon Hogan being a sleeper pick for them, maybe even a Ramon Broadway out of Arkansas. And defensive line, they like bigger guys. Kenrick Ellis is another sleeper. And I don't see him taking middle linebacker. Safety. One guy who I think that could interest them, Joe LaFege out of Rutgers, who of course was a teammate of McCourty's, who is now starring in the New England secondary. I could see him being an interesting guy, and that would probably also, if there was one guy who would jump out of nowhere and be a top 25 pick in this draft, it would probably be LaFege. Because in a really bad safety class, I could see the Jets jumping up to get him at 30. I think that that's a pick to watch out for because the Jets need a safety worse than a lot of things, and LaFege is the kind of guy who would appeal to them so much. But enough about the Jets. They will be later. I'm running way over. Please ask me Patriots questions. That's my favorite team. I love talking about them. Tomorrow will be the Chargers. And once again, forward this, retweet this, and read my article. I think you'll enjoy it. So bye.